Welcome you all here to the 2020 State of the City. My name is Heidi Butzine. I am the President and CEO of the Alameda Chamber of Commerce, and we're really excited to have you all here today for an update from Mayor Jim Gaisley and from Mayor Pro Tem Mark Waranek. Happy to have you all here. The Alameda Chamber is honored to present the State of the City, as it's an opportunity for us to learn about the city's achievements, challenges, and the road ahead for Alameda. We are the friendly city, and it's what keeps us united as a strong and resilient community, despite this extremely trying year for our residents and our businesses. Thank you, Mayor Gaisley, Alameda Council members, and the City of Alameda for being here. On behalf of the Alameda Chamber of Commerce, I would like to take a moment to thank our presenting sponsors, One West Bank and the Pacern Group. Today's event is also made possible by our leading sponsors, Southern California Edison, California Water Services Company, SoCal Gas, Thompson Building Materials, Localista Media, Trepepe Smith, Alameda Post-Acute Care Center, Best and Krieger, Kaiser Permanente, South Bay Workforce Investment Board, CalMet Services, Ride Yellow LA Yellow Cab, Laborers Local 1309, the Van Lingen Group, and the Water Replenishment District. And thanks to our supporting sponsors, Coastal Funeral Center, Home Health Depot, RF Dixon Company, New York Life Insurance Company, Nickerson Insurance Services, and Torrance Memorial Medical Center. We thank you all for your active engagement and commitment to our community in supporting this event. I'd also like to welcome distinguished individuals who are joining us here today. The Honorable Mayor of Alameda, Jim Gaisley, and his wife, Andrea. Mayor Pro Tem Mark Waranek and his wife, Christine. Councilmember Henry Sanchez and his wife, Nancy. Councilmember Mike Savadin and his wife, Mary. Councilmember Cindy Sagawa and her husband, Chris. Former Alameda City Council member and former Mayor Susie Dever. Former Mayor, Council member, and current Planning Commissioner, Bob Steinbach. Representing Assemblymember Al Mirasucci's office, Amy Arzate. Representing Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Hamilton Cloud. Representing LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn, Erica Velasquez. And our Alameda City Planning Commissioners, including Steve Camarata, Mike Graff, Joaquin Santos, and Barry Waite. We also have representatives from the Alameda Parks and Rec Commission, members Katie Tamer and Bill Uphoff. Our city manager, Ryan Smoot, and the entire city staff of Alameda is here, thank you. Our city attorney, Christy Hogan, and Captain Jim Powers and Deputy John Despot from the LA County Sheriff's Department, as well as Chief Officer Scott Hale from LA County Fire Station 6. Eshelman Elementary Principal Kelly Gomez. And we'd also like to welcome our neighbors, including Mayor Pat Fury from the City of Torrance, Torrance City Council members George Chen and Sharon Kalani, Rolling Hills City Council member Patrick Wilson, and City of Compton Council member and LA County Assessor's Office Michelle Chambers. Thank you all for your participation, and we should all give ourselves a round of applause. And thank you for bearing with us as we work through this technology. One thing that I wanted to raise, since sadly we couldn't get together in person this year, is some of our local restaurants here in Alameda and our businesses are actually offering a discount in honor of the State of the City event. So we wanted to recognize and thank some of those participating restaurants and businesses. That includes Project Barley Brewery, Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen, The Trim Tart, Bites and Bashes, and Iboshi Ramen and Noodle House. Please support all of your local restaurants and businesses, especially in this critical time. We support them and they support our community by keeping it vibrant and diverse. Thanks to all of our participating restaurants, and please make sure you grab a bite after to show your support. So the Chamber and the city have a unique relationship in that we both have a common goal to support the economic vitality of our community. Our Chamber of Commerce is proud of the relationships we've built with local government, both our elected officials and city staff. These relationships keep communication and dialogue open for our members and the community and are vital for exploring solutions to the issues that matter most to our community. We thank the City of Alameda for supporting the Chamber's initiatives, including our community call series that we launched during the pandemic at its height, going back to April. The city staff made themselves available to answer questions directly from our community members and businesses. And of course, they're always available to assist. Another member of our community that has helped support our business during this year is our presenting sponsor, One West Bank. So we'd like to hear from Roland Mattoon from One West Bank here in Lamita.
Hello, I'm Roland Mattoon, Director of Small Business for CIT's Retail Banking Group, One West Bank, member FDIC. We are honored to be part of this event and to recognize the resiliency and progress of the City of Lamita, one of the many local Southern California communities that One West Bank is proud to serve. And we are grateful to the Lamita Chamber of Commerce for their partnership and their commitment to ensuring that the people and businesses of Lamita thrive. CIT and One West Bank share that commitment, and we build strong, more vibrant communities by actively supporting and investing in affordable housing, economic development, neighborhood stabilization, and core community services across our footprint. Through our commitment to service and our array of deposit and lending solutions for consumers and small businesses, we build strong personal relationships in our communities, empowering them to achieve financial dignity. We are proud of our presence in Lamita and are committed to supporting our Lamita neighbors with the service and resources they need to successfully navigate their financial journey. Thank you.
Thank you, One West Bank, for your ongoing support of the Chamber, the City of Lamita, our businesses, and our community, and certainly for the State of the City event. I wanted to recognize those from One West Bank who are here joining us today, including Roland Mattoon, Carla Villacorta, and Albert Cazares. Thank you so much, and we enjoy working with you here in the community. It is now my pleasure to introduce our Honorable Mayor, Jim Gaisley. For those who don't know, Mayor Gaisley grew up here in Lamita. He went to school here in Lamita. He's a gaucho from Narbonne High School, and he has true pride as a Lamitian. And I still don't know exactly how to spell that, but I think I've got it down. From what I know about Jim, he is a proud and passionate person. He loves his community. He loves his family and grandkids. And when he's not in a city council meeting or representing the city of Lamita at meetings with regional and state events, he just might be golfing. As a true native, he married his high school sweetheart, Andrea. And you know, we see him at the farmer's market just about every Sunday picking up strawberries, I think, for that sweetheart. It is my honor to welcome Mayor Jim Gaisley.
Thank you, Heidi, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Gaisley, and I have the honor of serving as your mayor this year. And on behalf of the City of Lamita and City Council, we're glad you could join us today for a look at what is happening in our community. But before we get started, I'd like to say a special thank you to Lamita Chamber of Commerce for putting on this event today. 2020 has been a challenging year to say the least, but it's with great pride that we take a quick step back and look at some of the things that this great community has been able to accomplish in the face of those challenges. As we reflect on what we have accomplished together as a group, not as individuals, but as a team and a community, the character of our community has been shown in full light. Lamita has once again shown it can withstand any storm and do so with caring and community. I say that we have accomplished these things as a team, and I believe that is a critical point. We see so much dysfunction across the world, but Lamita excels because we are a team. And the City Council, our staff, to the Chamber of Commerce, to our small businesses, to our residents, we're all on the same team and moving in the same direction. As we think about 2020, it has been one of the most challenging years our community and our world have faced. But we are tackling its challenges one by one and moving forward. Obviously, this year has been shaped by the COVID-19 pandemic, and I am proud that Lamita has been able to step up to support our residents most in need. Our small businesses, our chamber, and our community groups help meet the needs presented by this pandemic. The city's Lift Up Lamita efforts began with thousands of dollars in donations from the city's staff out of their own pockets to support our community, and they quickly grew from there. We quickly saw our community come to life in full force to help each other out and stay connected. See a need, meet a need. That's the Lamita way. And we're encouraged by all the support in our community and region. This year we have distributed more than 500 packages to seniors and others in need in our community when they needed it, which contained paper goods, face masks, bottled water, lists of local resources, and other essential items as they became available. Our goal has been to come together and make sure those in our community who need to be at home still have access to the things they need. Once word got out, we received great stories of Lamita lifting up Lamita. Neighbors were checking in on neighbors, offering to pick up groceries, other needed items for an elderly friend or relative. We have also been able to provide more than $64,000 in direct support to our small businesses to help them get through the toughest of times. We provided temporary protections against evictions to residential and commercial tenants. We suspended parking enforcement to allow residents to be safer at home, and we provided much needed support to our sheriffs and first responders as they continue to work to keep us safe. This is by no means a full list of the efforts of this community, and certainly the city itself is not alone in these efforts. Supporting our community has been a team effort that has included so many groups and individuals, and I thank each and every one of you for your continued efforts. We will continue to face the COVID challenge head on and continue to lift up Lamita. While responding to COVID-19 has certainly been at the forefront of many of our efforts this year, it has not been the only challenge the city has faced. As you're also aware, like many cities across the country, Lamita is also facing some significant financial challenges in the coming years that we must address now. At the start of the year, our projections show that within the next 5 years, Lamita would be facing a $1.2 million deficit every year going forward. $1.2 million may not sound like a lot, but for a city like Lamita, it's more than 10% of our annual general fund budget. That dire outlook and the possibility of necessary cutbacks to the critical programs the city provides are why the City Council unanimously decided to place Measure L on the November ballot for our residents to consider. We are pleased to report that Measure L passed with close to 60% support, and our council is committed to using these revenues for the things our residents have prioritized most: improving our water system, repairing our streets, keeping our parks and public areas clean and safe, maintaining our sheriff's response, and helping to support and retain our local businesses. This is an important step forward for our community, and my colleagues and I are looking forward to continuing to improve Lamita. Despite the financial challenge that we have faced, we have also been able to continue much of the great work of the last few years, and there are a couple of projects and accomplishments I'd like to note for you here today. First, the city has continued our efforts to improve the condition of our local streets by completing a slurry resurfacing of 3 of the 7 zones in our city. This was a large project and one that has been in plans for some time, but we're not done yet. The City Council also recently approved a design for even more in-depth work on those streets that required more than slurry. With that project, even more streets in dire need of repair will be resurfaced and refurbished for many more years to come. Streets and infrastructure improvement have been the focus of our council for a number of years, and we are seeing the fruits of that labor come to life. In addition to street improvements, the other main priority of our council has been the city's water system and our commitment to safe, clean, reliable water for our community. Recently, the city approved the newest upgrades to our treatment facility to add GAC filtration to the plant. This has been a project in the works for many years, and one has been driven by concerns of our residents. This project will add to the city's greatest asset, our ability to rely on safe, clean, and local source of drinking water, despite droughts and other challenges our state may face. We also recently completed the Walnut Street Improvement Project to replace a water main, rehabilitate the street pavement, fix sidewalk ramps, add bike lanes, and install other traffic control signage indicating a new school bus zone to improve student safety around Fleming Middle School. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Chamber's new Lamita Farmers Market every Sunday here at City Hall. This is a great event, even in the midst of COVID crisis. It is a great way to bring our community together. Thanks for Heidi and Eric and their team for getting that up and running. It's just one more way Lamita is growing and getting better. My colleagues and I are continually looking to follow the priorities of our residents, and our residents continually prioritize water system improvements, street work, community and business support, and fiscal stability. This will be our focus as we go forward. In the coming year, you will see construction of a new development construction of GAC upgrades to the water treatment facility, reconstructions of many of our streets, and a continued commitment to support and build our local small business base. Now I'd like to recognize Captain Jim Powers and the personnel from the Alameda Sheriff Station and Captain Vasquez from the LA County Fire Department Station 6 for their valuable contributions to our public safety and give them the opportunity to provide us with an update.
Hello, I'm Captain James Powers, the Unit Commander for Alameda Sheriff Station. I want to thank you for this opportunity to share a few things regarding the last year in the city of Alameda as regards to our services that we provide to you. In preparing for this interview, one of the questions I was asked is, what are our top 3 accomplishments for this year? I think the service that we provide is a top accomplishment. I think keeping the crime rate at a minimum level or a lower level is an accomplishment. And just ensuring that your quality of life is maintained at a safe level. One of my biggest concerns is the way we handle our calls for service and the way we communicate with the public. Because I know, and my staff know, that that call for service to our station could be the very first time that somebody of your community has made contact with law enforcement, and I want that to be a positive one. Partnerships in the community is a priority for me. It's a priority for law enforcement, especially during these challenging times. And so it's very, very important that my deputy sheriffs don't just drive down the street looking for the bad guy to take to jail. My expectation is that they not only look for that bad guy, but also engage members of the community and communicate with them, because that's a key component of trying to solve problems and ensure that your quality of life is safe and efficient. As we engage in community policing, it's important that you, as members of the community, call us when there's a need. And you've heard the quote, when you see something, say something. I can't impress upon that enough. It's very, very important. Quite often I'll get phone calls after the fact, and I'll ask if somebody called us to report whatever the circumstances were, and I'll get a reply that, no, I didn't want to waste your time, or I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But I want to ensure that you understand that it is a big deal, and that is a priority. And that's how we solve crimes. That's how we catch people. That's how we ensure that we keep that crime rate low. I can honestly say that the year 2020 was a very unique and challenging year for all of us. Earlier in the year, we were faced with a pandemic of COVID-19, and that changed all of our lives in a lot of ways. And so early on, we deployed extra units throughout the station area, and we focused on shopping centers. We focused on drugstores. We focused on all of those places that sold the necessities that people were searching for. And what I found was people were behaving themselves, the shopping centers were peaceful, people were minding their own business and just worrying about themselves. There wasn't a big impact. But what I did see is that was an opportunity for criminals to take advantage of certain situations. For example, a lot of the businesses were closed due to the shutdown. And unfortunately, criminals took advantage of that and they targeted those businesses. So what I did is I reallocated a lot of my resources to address those, to conduct patrol checks, to conduct operations of surveillance. And we found very quickly that we were able to apprehend suspects responsible for breaking into certain businesses and again, maintain the quality of life and ensure that your community is safe. Additionally, throughout the COVID-19 epidemic, we ran into some other issues that prompted civil unrest throughout our country, throughout our county, and even throughout my jurisdictional station area. Not necessarily in Alameda, but it does have an impact on your quality of life. And so with that being said, we had to adapt to certain things. We had to change our behaviors. We had to change our deployments. And there was just a lot going on with homeless initiatives, with the COVID pandemic, the turnkey operation where we utilized a hotel in the city of Alameda. And we ensured that that went off and was a successful operation. And we had fears up front, but it turned out to be a very, very effective program to help those in need. I'd like to talk a little bit about the crime rate and about crime trends. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw an increase of commercial burglaries up front, which I addressed. We also saw an increase of grand theft autos countywide. And I can say that during several months of this calendar year, our grand theft auto arrests were greater than the thefts from automobiles from our jurisdictional batteries. And so that's just a great example of the proactive efforts and the coordination of the deputy sheriffs throughout Lamita Station, specifically in the city of Lamita, that make certain crimes a felony down a misdemeanor. Certain values of theft have increased, and making the felony drop down to a misdemeanor unless a certain level threshold of theft is met. In addition to that, with COVID-19, the pandemic, we've seen the bail systems be adjusted to where people are getting arrested and getting released before the deputies are done writing a report. And we've even seen repeat offenders that have been arrested for the same crime multiple times throughout the day. Now, I can say that we haven't seen that at Lamita Station, which is a good thing, but I have seen it at other stations. And the good news about this is, even though that we're faced with these challenges, the deputies at Lamita Station have continued to move forward and be proactive and not let that hinder their decision making as far as solving problems or making arrests and going out and looking for those people and taking them into jail to keep your community safe. And so it's just something that you should be aware of, and hopefully in the near future the courts may change their processes and their procedures. But in the meantime, it's important that you do understand that, and understand that if you see something, please say something, because that type of mentality and your calls to our station for us to serve you are very, very important in helping us do our job. It's my philosophy, my belief, that we send a car to any call for service. And I've instructed my staff, my supervisors, my desk personnel, that when you call and ask for a deputy to come out, that we send one. And so with that, I also will hold myself accountable in addition to my supervisors and my staff. And so if you call and ask for a deputy sheriff to come out, if you have concerns or questions as far as the way the call was handled or not handled, I want to know about it. My staff wants to know about it. And so if you feel the need to call back, you can ask for the watch sergeant or the watch commander and inquire about follow-up on how the call was handled if you have questions. And if it wasn't handled to your satisfaction, we want to know about it, because I will be the first person to tell you that none of us here are perfect and there's always room to learn. And if we can better ourselves, that's my goal. One of the key words that I haven't mentioned at all is the word trust. And as I talk about trust, it's a very, very important word. But I've taken that word and I've broken it down into an acronym, which is truth, respect, understanding, support, and teamwork. And that word trust is very, very valuable to me. And in today's society, with everything that's going on throughout our nation, throughout our state, and throughout the county of Los Angeles and the city of Lamita, I think trust is very, very important. And I want to ensure that I will live up to that. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to share some of the accomplishments that Lamita Station has made and delivered throughout your community. And I appreciate all of your support, and thank you again.
Hello from Fire Station 6 over here in Lomita. This is Captain Chris Vasquez. We're going to touch bases on a few things, but first and foremost, whether you had an emergency, medical emergency, or whatever type of emergency you had, thanks everyone for practicing social distancing, wearing masks while we're on scene. We wear our masks, but we just want to make sure that we extend our appreciation. Thank you guys for wearing your masks too. That's been a big help in combating this pandemic, so that's a huge factor, so thank you. We applaud you for that. With the holidays coming near, we do have some programs in place that really do help people keep everyone in their family and their household safe. We do have one program for a rapid escape plan called FIRE. You can Google search it on LA County's website, but it's essentially just talking with your family and designing an escape plan to get out of your house in case of emergency, whether it be a fire, whether it be a earthquake. There's just some things you want to practice. It's a good thing to kind of do and have a talk with your family about. Secondly, there's another program called Close Before You Doze, and it's essentially just closing your door as you go to bed. If there was a fire out in your, say, living room or kitchen, if you're in your room and you shut the door, you have a much better chance of surviving any type of fire because you have nice, clean, fresh air. We've seen it before on fires where we go in, the house is charged with smoke. Rooms that had doors shut are perfectly untouched. Some other things we want to just touch base on: holiday lighting, electrical plugs, starting the ovens for these holiday dinners and get-togethers you might be having, starting wall heaters. These are all things that are kind of seasonal. We don't touch them for a while. Say someone preheats the oven, they forgot they left a Tupperware in there or some type of pan. You drip, it starts a fire. So these are just some things we'd like to just kind of bring to your awareness. Three major accomplishments I know that we've seen just through actions of our department. I know the pandemic was number one. We already touched upon that. Safe practicing, just a lot of social distancing, using masks, decontaminating things, PPEs in general. We never completely ran out, but things were getting kind of tight there, so that was a huge one. And then lastly, I think what we pushed a lot on is our brush inspections and inspections in general. We do live in Southern California. We do get some weather out here, and when the Santa Anas come, we have a lot of what they call urban interface, where houses are touched up into heavy brush areas. And a big part of that is pre-planning. So with doing the brush inspections, clearing out some of that brush, weed abatement, those are huge things that really give us a fighting chance to save houses and property. We do want to let you know that we still, even though it's LA County, we're still your local fire department. So if you guys have any questions, by all means, you can give us a call. We're right down the street here on Narbonne, so we'd prefer a phone call right now over showing up. But yeah, if you guys need anything, by all means, give us a call. You can call us at 310-326-2461. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain Powers and Fire Captain Vasquez, for the great job you're doing keeping Lamita safe. As you are probably aware, this year 2 members of our City Council team decided their time of service has come to an end. Mike Savadan and Henry Sanchez have served our community on the City Council and City Commissions for many years, and Lamita will simply not be the same without them. All the accomplishments we're discussing today have been shaped in some way by these 2 gentlemen, and from the bottom of the heart, I want to say thank you to both and look forward to your continued involvement in moving the city forward. I am a lifetime Lamita resident, and I'm proud to live in Lamita because it's a community that cares for one another, a community that faces challenges and pushes through them, and a community that continues to move forward regardless of what's put in our way. Going forward, we'll be welcoming 2 new members of the Lamita City Council, and I look forward to working with both of them. Despite the challenges that 2020 has presented, we will keep looking forward and keep working to meet the goals and priorities of our residents. Lamita has always faced challenges, and we will continue to overcome them together. All of our efforts are built around a common goal to lift up Lamita, and we'll continue to work toward that goal. Thank you again for joining our virtual presentation today, even if we can't be together in person, and thank you again to the Chamber for coordinating today's events. As with most of you, I am sure we are looking forward to 2021 and all that it'll bring and all that we'll be able to accomplish together. It was my pleasure with providing you with an update at this time. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mayor Gaisley, for that update. And thank you to the LA County Sheriff's Department Lamita Station, Captain Powers, Deputy Despot, the LA County Fire Station 6, Captain Vasquez. Fire Station 6 has a special spot in my heart because my uncle, Steve Kohlmeyer, used to work there many years ago as well. See a need, meet a need, lift up Lamita. If you see something, say something, lift up Lamita. This is what Lamita is all about, and I think it has been for some time. We thank the mayor, council members, city staff, sheriff, and fire for not only taking care of what we need now during this pandemic, but also looking ahead to plan for our future. I'd like to take a moment at this point to recognize one of our other major sponsors for today's State of the City event, the Pacern Group. In addition to being a founding and sustaining member of the Lamita Chamber of Commerce, the Pacern Group continues to support the vibrant community of Lamita. To assist with the city's COVID-19 response, the Pacern Family Foundation purchased 2,000 medical masks to be used by city employees and local businesses. And they provided t-shirts and basketballs to youth participating in this year's summer virtual basketball program. Additionally, the Pacern Family Foundation has invested $50,000 in the Lamita Public Plaza to enhance the downtown and walkability at 24329 Narbonne Avenue. Included on today's call from the Pacern Group are Greg Nakahira, Chief Investment Officer, Derek Pacern, Executive Vice President, Tim Stanley, President. From Pacern Residential, Yunmi Martin, President. And from the Pacerne Family Foundation, Victor Nelson, Executive Director. Pacerne Residential, Mia Lancaster, Vice President of Marketing. From Pacerne Residential, Sean Tyner, Director of Marketing. And from the Pacerne Group, Lauren Olivier, Assistant Development Manager. Once again, we thank you, Pacerne Group, for your participation, your community investment, and your support of Lomita and the State of the City event. It is now my privilege to welcome Lomita's Mayor Pro Tem Mark Warreneck to our virtual stage for our Q&A session. Mark is the most charitable person I know, and his passion for Lomita runs very deep. I think most of you here today know Mark, you know, through several different hats that he wears. And actually looking at his bio the other night, I think, Mark, you've got at least over 30 organizations, charitable organizations, church, municipalities, chambers of commerce, and also being our Mayor Pro Tem and having served as previous Mayor of Lomita and on the Lomita City Council for a number of years. Mark volunteers and serves on so many different organizations, and he's worked in some capacity with, I think, almost all of the LA County cities. Mark does a lot for the South Bay and for his city, and his love and passion for Lomita always shows through. I'm honored to welcome Mayor Mark Pro Tem. I thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you very much, Heidi, and thank you to the Lomita Chamber. Fire away.
Our first question comes from Angie Gilbride. She is the Regional Community Affairs Specialist for Cal Water. And Angie, if you go ahead and ask your question, you should be unmuted.
Thanks, Heidi. Mayor Pro Tem, how are the city and chamber working together to support businesses and attract businesses to Lomita?
Thank you for your question, Angie. Over the last few years, the city has put a high priority on not just supporting our existing businesses, but working to attract new and lively businesses to the community. We created an economic development department at City Hall to focus our efforts to highlight Lomita as a great place to start and run a business. And we've seen a lot of success in that area. We've seen some new businesses popping up around town, especially in the downtown area. Obviously, we can't do it alone though. We are so proud to have a great partner in the Chamber of Commerce to support our efforts. And Heidi and Eric have been that for us. The Chamber has been a great addition to the community and has done so much to promote Lomita. The farmers market that's put on every Sunday at City Hall is a great example. It's a great way for the community to connect and come together, especially during this COVID-19 crisis. It's been a great event and brings residents right into the heart of downtown Lomita. And we're so happy that the Chamber has been able to make it such a great success. And if you haven't been, you're really missing out, because it's a great opportunity to get to know your neighbors, but more importantly, get some fresh produce as well. The Chamber has been such a great support to our small businesses during this pandemic, to help them get the information out and to support and adopt to all the new rules and changes that you see coming out. I've always said to myself, in order to have a healthy business community, you have to have a vibrant Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Angie.
Thank you, Angie. Our next question comes from Carla Villacorta, the Business Development Officer at One West Bank.
Oh, good afternoon. So my question is, what is the city doing to help support small businesses struggling with the COVID restrictions?
Well, thank you, Carla. And it's always nice to come into One West Bank and see you and the friendly folks there. I have some of my accounts there, and it's always great bank. So I really appreciate you and your team there at the bank.
Thank you.
This has been one of the city's major points of focus during this pandemic. Lomita business community is almost completely small businesses. We don't have the big box retail that other communities have. Our businesses are husband and wife, mom and pop, struggling to keep their businesses afloat and still support their family. They're entrepreneurs fighting to adjust and adapt to the ever-changing requirements. These are tough times for small businesses, and the city recognizes that. During the pandemic, we have waived fees to allow businesses to operate outdoors as they need. We've deferred water bills and other payments. and we've been able to provide direct financial assistance to small businesses in Lomita to offer support services and supplies as they adapt to the new requirements. I think a lot of credit goes to Heidi and Eric at the Chamber for their tireless work to get the information and resources out to the businesses and to make sure their voice is heard at every level of government as decisions are being made. I even saw our mayor out there promoting the grant that we gave the businesses from the city. And so I applaud you, Mayor Gaisley, for doing that and getting the word out. The Chamber's efforts have had a direct impact on our ability to make sure our state and county representatives understand the importance of small businesses and the struggles they're facing during this pandemic. As the city, we'll continue to push our county and state legislators to provide the necessary resources to help businesses not only get through this pandemic, but to do it safely and securely. And I want to say thank you to our supervisor, Janice Hahn, because I see Brent from Project Barley on today. And I know she worked behind the scenes to work with the brewery industry to get things moving so they can open, and not just them open, but other breweries in Torrance in and around the South Bay. So thank you, Supervisor Hahn.
Thank you, Carla, for your question. Our next question comes from Jennifer Olvera. She is the Public Relations Manager for Coastal Funeral Center. Jennifer, go ahead.
Thank you, Heidi. Mayor Pro Tem, but more importantly, my friend first. Thank you for your participation today. My question is, we've seen a lot about the city's vision for downtown Lomita. Can you talk about that vision and what's happening to bring it to life?
Sure, absolutely. And thank you, Jennifer, for your friendship. Friendship with Jennifer and the Frew family is a friendship for life, so I appreciate that. The downtown area is such an important part of Lomita, and it's an important part to myself and my colleagues on the council. It has always had so much potential. We've had studies and studies, but I tell you, this last couple of years, this council has really taken it up a notch. Our council and staff took a good hard look at the downtown area and how it could be brought to life and what types of uses and businesses would be successful. The result of that process was the development of the downtown vision and retail strategy that you've all heard about. Since that time, we have been working hard to bring new businesses and make it easier for them to be successful. This won't be immediate, but we are proud of the success we have seen. As we go forward, we'll see some more improvements to the streets and sidewalks, some additional parking and beautification work, and most importantly, some new businesses. The long-term vision is to create a lively and vibrant core for the community to come together, shop, play, and have events. And we look forward to continuing to work with our businesses and residents to bring this to life. We're also in the process of recruiting a new director of community and economic development after our former director, Alicia, who was such a big part of the development of this vision, accepted a position with another city. We sure do miss her. As we look forward to someone to fill that role, the downtown vision will certainly be a big part of their work going forward. So thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks, Jen. Appreciate the question. Our next question comes from Jim Leadham. And Jim Leadham is the owner of Home Health Depot here in Lomita on PCH. Jim, go ahead with your question.
Thank you, Heidi. And Mark, thank you for the grant money that the city of Lomita handed out. I was one of the recipients, and I certainly do appreciate it. My question is, the city has devoted a lot of effort to repaving the streets throughout the town. What are the plans to continue that work? What parts of town, perhaps?
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that question. When I ran for city council back in 2013, Jim Gaisley and I, we walked the streets, and the number one issue that we saw from people was, when are you going to pave the streets? Our streets are horrible. And even, 7 years later, we're still continuing to do that. So I'm very proud of that. Street improvements have definitely been a priority for us as a council for the last 7 years now, for sure. When I was, like I said, when I was walking, it was a major priority. The condition of our streets was the number one issue. And I heard that from the residents. And I'm proud to say that the city council has been able to creatively work to pave more than 2/3 of our city. That's pretty impressive. And we still work toward doing even more to pave the whole city. And with the election a couple weeks ago, our residents passed Measure L, and we thank the residents, which was specifically brought forward to help pay for projects just like this. Measure L is so important to Lomita, and it will give us the ability to keep making progress on repairing and upgrading our streets, sidewalks, and other infrastructure. I am confident my colleagues will maintain our commitment to street repairs and improvements going forward. And I also want to give a shout out to Supervisor Janice Hahn once again, because she sent out not just one, but 2 mailers supporting Measure L. And that was huge. That was huge for us. So again, thank you, Supervisor Janice Hahn, for doing that. We appreciate that very much, because we know those monies are being captured right in our city to do what we need to do as far as infrastructure improvement. So thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate the question. And man, oh man, Mark, just hearing your responses to some of these questions just shows the complexities involved in leading a city and in running a city. So thank you for sharing that. Dee Dee McGuire, I think you're next. Miss Dee Dee McGuire is from New York Life. Dee Dee, are you there?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Mayor Pro Tem, one thing that we have heard a lot about this year has been unity. How does Lomita bring our community together?
Thanks, Dee Dee. Unity in the community, that's what we're all about here in Lomita. I love that question. We always say Lomita is such a great community. We are family. Families disagree, families even fight, but at the end of the day, they come together and move forward, and that's what we've done here in Lomita. Luckily, Lomita did not see the unrest that many communities saw earlier this year, but it does not mean we can sit back and say these issues don't exist. They do, and we have to address them. This is something Lomita does well. We stand next to our neighbors and we shake their hand. We offer them love and support regardless of who they are or where they come from. It's what makes this community great. Lomita is also caring, compassionate, and loyal. We love our small town, and we will always will. Even during COVID-19 crisis, we have worked hard to bring Lomita together and focus on positive things happening in our community. We developed the Lift Up Lomita program to showcase positive stories of Lomita coming together to help each other, and we have been recognized nationally for that program. We also work closely with community groups to keep important conversations happening and to keep our community connected. By focusing on the good things happening in Lomita and our neighbors around us, Lomita can be an example to the communities around us about how to tackle difficult challenges as one family. And I want to take a moment here to recognize the great partnership that the city has with the Sheriff's Department. As our captain mentioned, the team of Lomita Station works day in and day out to engage with and connect with our residents and really be a part of the Lomita family. These men and women put their lives on the line for us, and I salute them. Our whole city council salutes them. It's something that I take very seriously, and we're proud to have them as our partners in keeping Lomita safe and connected. And I also want to talk real quick about some of the organizations that really stepped it up during this time. The Kiwanis Club. We fed for 9 weeks 100 families during this COVID. 100 families that came up right in front of Lomita, a Kiwanis Hall on Narbonne Avenue, and we gave these families food because a lot of these families, especially at the beginning, lost their jobs and they didn't have a lot. These disadvantaged families needed us. I also want to thank Communities Child for serving disadvantaged families throughout this COVID, and they're still doing it. They have a facility here in Torrance, in Lomita and in Torrance, and they're serving the families right here in Lomita, Harbor City, Torrance, Gardena, and other areas in the South Bay. And they're right here headquartered in Lomita. So thank you to Tara Nierenhausen, at Community's Child. And thank you to our Lamita Harbor City Kiwanis Club for really stepping up.
Thank you, Mark. And, you know, it's just incredible. You're right, seeing all of these different organizations here in a 2 square mile town and beyond, our other neighbors, Community's Child, all the nonprofits and organizations that really made a difference during this pandemic. Again, it's Lift Up Lamita, right? I mean, that's the theme here. Did you want to add anything else, Mark?
Yeah, sure. Again, thank you, Heidi, and to you, Eric, and to the Lamita Chamber Board. You guys are rock stars, and for you to take over this Lamita State of the City, you guys are great. This has been an unprecedented year, but even in these difficult times, we've been able to continue to provide the services our community expects and deserves. Just like all of our businesses and residents and all of the communities around us, Lamita has had to adapt and adjust every part of the way we serve our community. I have been so proud to watch my colleagues on the council, our city staff, the chamber, and our community come together and find new ways to do the great work we've always done. And even find the new ideas and new programs to support our city. Even with all these new challenges that 2020 has thrown at us, Lamita still continues to shine as strong, resilient, and focused community that cares for our neighbors, supports our businesses, and always looks to better days in the future. It really is the hardest times that the things that make Lamita great shine the brightest. And I'm looking forward to what 2021 brings. And I have no doubt Lamita will come out of all of this even stronger than before. Lamita strong, baby, Lamita strong. So thank you, Heidi, and the Lamita Chamber.
Thank you so much, Mark. I think that deserves a round of applause. I wish we were all together in person. Thank you, Mark, for answering those questions, and thank you to our participants as well. It has been quite a year, and once again, I think accessible and approachable and Lift Up Lamita, that's really the theme of who we are. And of course, we love working with our neighboring cities and communities because, you know, as a South Bay native myself, and also grew up in Lamita, I just believe that the South Bay is such an ecosystem and we all lift each other up. So if we can expand that, obviously, throughout the South Bay, I think that's a powerful message, especially for this year. I just want to say on behalf of the Lamita Chamber of Commerce, thank you, Mayor Gaisley, for providing us with this update. Thank you to Mayor Pro Tem Mark Warnick for your engagement and participation. We thank all of our elected officials, our city leadership, and dedicated city staff for your commitment to Lamita and the South Bay community. And once again, we need to thank all of our esteemed sponsors who made this event possible, and special thanks to our presenting sponsors, One West Bank and the Pacern Group. We couldn't have done this without Jeff Coven from Coven Video Production, and also Eric Bowman, my partner from Local East Media. Thanks for all your help and support. I want to thank all of you for being here with us together. Let's do this next time in person over lunch. Please be sure to grab a bite at one of our participating restaurants. Support your local business. 'Tis the season to shop local. And we'll see you at the farmers market on Sundays at Lamita City Hall. Thank you for coming. Be safe, be strong, Lamita strong, and better together in the South Bay. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.